Hey, thank you for a great question. We have a handful of references in the New Testament in Matthew, Mark, and Luke to Beelzebub as a prince of the devils, as the leader of the devils, and even in Luke they are put in parallel to Satan themselves, suggesting an identification with Satan. And if that's the case, that is an innovation pretty recent to the New Testament. That's not how the Hebrew Bible represents this deity. It's a part of this rhetorical consolidation of all of these divine opponents from the Hebrew Bible within the single figure of the devil, of Satan, the leader of these malevolent spiritual forces. And there are a couple of things to note about this name in the New Testament and its relationship to the Hebrew Bible. The first is that if your translation into English of the New Testament refers to this entity as Beelzebub, that is an intentional mistransliteration, because the Greek actually says Beelzebul, which is more accurate. That's what the deity's title actually would have been, and it means Baal prince. And we have this in some Ugaritic literature with the order reverse, Zebul Baal, meaning Prince Baal or Prince Lord. But in the Hebrew Bible, they editorialize, they corrupt that name and change it to Baal Zevuv, which means Lord of Flies or Ball of Flies. So the New Testament actually more accurately represents the name, whereas the Hebrew Bible overwhelmingly uses that corrupted version of the name. So if your translation of the New Testament says Beelzebub, then it's trying to match it to the Hebrew Bible's usage rather than accurately reflect the Greek of the New Testament. Other thing to note is that this is just a reference to the Northwest Semitic storm deity Baal or Baal Hadad. This is another one of their titles. And the reason there's so much conflict between Adonai and Baal in the Hebrew Bible is because when Adonai shows up on the scene, they adopt the storm deity profile. And so they're both trying to fill the same role within the same region, so they're directly competing against each other. This is why, for instance, we have the contest between Elijah and the priests of Baal. The whole contest is to see who is Ha-Elohim, the deity in the region. And what do they do to win the contest? They show that they have control over the weather, that they can call down fire from heaven, i.e. lightning, to light the sacrifice. And Adonai is successful in doing so, and so all the people cry out, Hu Ha-Elohim, Hu Ha-Elohim, he is the deity, he is the deity. They demonstrate control over the weather in the region, therefore they win, they are the storm deity in the region. And later Baal would represent kind of this abstract notion of malevolent spiritual forces. So they're associated with child sacrifice, they're associated with worship practices that are considered inappropriate, they are associated with everything that is considered bad and wrong in the later periods of ancient Israel, even though everything that they reject about Baal is something that was central to Adonai's divine profile in the earliest years of Israel's existence.